Well, they did it. Razer's latest high-end gaming mouse is the Viper V3 Pro. We got a taste of what could be in store back with the Viper V3 Hyperspeed last fall, but it only left me waiting for this, the 54-gram symmetrical gaming mouse that's aimed directly at taking down one of the FPS kings, the Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2. So how does the Viper V3 Pro perform for the $160 price tag? Well, let's dive in and check it out. Hey everybody, I'm Jordan with 9 to 5 Toys. Now, throughout the entire press briefing that Razer put on for the Viper V3 Pro, they basically mentioned how they were targeting the Superlight 2 directly with this mouse. With that in mind, the Viper V3 Pro is lighter, has a higher wireless polling rate, higher max DPI, faster acceleration, and in my opinion, a better shape when compared to the Superlight 2. And even with the V3 Hyperspeed, these mice have been seen being used in the wild, which has stirred up a lot of interest. And I bet this won't be the last time that we see mice like this leaked into the pro circuit before they are actually released. Starting off with the design, if you saw the review of the V3 Hyperspeed, the shape is basically the same on the new V3 Pro. Compared to the V2 Pro, the little peak in the shell has been moved back a little bit, which makes it a lot more comfortable in my hand. Now, typically I prefer an ergo mouse. I've been using the DeathAdder V3 Pro mainly recently, but this is something that I'm going to be using for a little bit longer to see if it can replace the DeathAdder for me, because I really do like that lightweight 54-gram feel on here. Looking at what has changed on the V3 Pro compared to the V3 Hyperspeed, the mouse feet on the bottom are considerably larger, and there's no longer a DPI button on top of the mouse that has been combined with the power button on the bottom of the mouse. Additionally, the sensor has been placed right in the middle of the mouse compared to the forward position that we saw on the V3 Hyperspeed. Otherwise, we still have the symmetrical shape. We have the little ledges on the side here that prevent pinching on mouse 1 and mouse 2. We have the exact same side buttons on here, which are really nicely placed. Overall, we just have a very nice and comfortable shape with this mouse. Talking quickly about the coating, at least on this black version that we have here, it's a very smooth, soft coating on here compared to the DeathAdder V3 Pro in white, which was a little bit more textured and kind of a little bit more grip on this, but it's exactly the same, or feels nearly identical to what you'd even find on the Superlight 2. So it's not hyper grippy, but you do get some grip tape that comes in the box with this if you want to add a little bit more grip. That being said, it's very lightweight. I never had any issues with slipping when I was using this mouse. So moving deeper into some of the specs here with the sensor, not only did Razer aim for the Superlight 2 when it came to the weight, Razer also set to top that mouse in every single spec possible. With Razer's latest sensor, the Focus Pro 35K Optical, the V3 Pro beats the Superlight 2 in DPI sensitivity, max speed, and max acceleration. Razer also added a few new tools inside of Synapse. First off is the ability to adjust DPI in increments of 1, and the V3 Pro has a DPI sensitivity matcher. This is kind of what Logitech implemented with the Superlight 2, where basically you can run two mice right next to each other side by side and match the DPI between the two. So if you are transitioning from an old mouse, you can match it and make the new mouse feel basically like your old mouse. And I don't have any way to test input latency on this thing, but typically in third-party tests, Razer's Hyperspeed Wireless has performed very well, and in my experience, it feels great when you are using it. It's nice and quick and snappy. I never had any issues with any input registering when I was moving this. And Razer has upped the game a little bit with this by including the hyper-polling dongle with the V3 Pro. Now, typically with some other mice, this is an add-on. With the DeathAdder V3 Pro, this mouse came in at $150, and then to get the dongle is another $30, looking at $180 altogether for that. Since then, I believe you can get a package that includes the dongle with the DeathAdder V3 Pro for $160. It's basically the same price as the V3 Pro, which already comes with that hyperpolling dongle. So with that dongle, this will go up to 8K hertz polling. I probably would not always leave it at 8K polling because I don't feel like I need it all the time, but I did run it for a little while and never had any issues with any sort of stuttering or slowdowns on my PC. Everything worked just as it should. Moving on to switches, the Viper V3 Pro uses the Gen 3 optical switches. These are the same ones that we would find in the DeathAdder V3 Pro. They feel and sound very similar to that DeathAdder V3 Pro. There is minimal pre-travel and the click is solid. I find the resistance to be similar to the Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2. And there's also very minimal wiggle on the mouse buttons when pressed. Thanks to that finger ledge design on the sides of mouse 1 and mouse 2, the mouse clicks feel great on the Viper V3 Pro. So while I'm not a pro FPS player, I've found this mouse, the Viper V3 Pro, to perform very well for me when I was playing BattleBit or Battlefield 2042 or even PUBG a little bit. I usually play at 400 DPI, and having a lightweight mouse makes big movements even easier. And the fact that the Viper V3 Pro is 6 grams lighter than the Superlight 2 is noticeable. On the bottom of the mouse, the design of the PTFE feet also feels better on the Viper V3 Pro than the Superlight 2. The mouse feet go further to the edge, which minimizes any sort of scratching feeling when the mouse is tilted for lifting off or landing. Not that I personally had much of an issue with that with the Superlight 2, but it is a noticeable improvement when I am looking for it on the Viper V3 Pro. So while I'm not a pro esports player and I will never probably truly realize the full potential and possibility of the performance that is packed into this Viper V3 Pro, I really think that Razer knocked it out of the park with this. It's clear what the target was with this mouse. They're going straight for the throat of Logitech with the Superlight 2, and I think they made an incredibly compelling competitor. On paper with the spec sheet and in my hand, just based on the changes to the shape and ergonomics of the Viper line, this would be the mouse that I would choose. But will the pro player base come to the same conclusion? Based on the performance from top tier players like Zekin, I do think that there is a good chance that they'll embrace it. Alright, that's going to do it for our review of the Viper V3 Pro from Razer. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. And if you're looking for some other videos to watch, check out these videos over here on the right. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so others can find it easier, and consider subscribing. This is Jordan with 9to5 Toys.